Now that the Florida heat has leveled off just a bit, the garden has responded, and plants that had trouble getting established are taking off. It made sense to work on a few repairs around the house that needed attention while I let the garden find its rhythm. First off, this is what happens when you notice the seams coming apart on the roof flashing and don't do anything about it. You get water damage. So I repaired the seam and now have to cut away the damaged wood in order to replace that section. The multi-tool allowed me to cut just beyond the damaged section without a lot of twisting myself into a pretzel. I really had to work to make sure I got all of the water-soaked wood removed. This needed to be done to start fresh with solid wood. It took a little while, but I got it done. I had some tongue-and-groove cedar left over from another project and figured it would work well because cedar is very resistant to water and decay. I simply needed to cut the wood to the length I needed and then cut off the tongue-and-groove part. With that done, I then needed to match the width of the existing fascia, and I would be ready to put the piece in place. I made sure to cut the replacement piece so I would get a tight fit, and I jimmied it into place, then came back and nailed in the section. Just to be on the safe side, I added caulking to the seams and the section where the replacement met the bottom of the flashing. I let that sit for a couple of days to allow the caulking to set. I had some leftover paint from painting my garage door, so I knew the color would match. I particularly like the idea of using this paint because it has moisture and UV resistance. It was a small section, so it didn't take long at all to paint the front, back, and bottom. Then come back and give it a second coat. And even though it didn't match the lighter color of the flashing, I put a little there too, where I had repaired the seam for added protection. Once I finished and allowed the paint to completely dry, I was pleased with the end result. Except for the paint I put on the flashing seam, you wouldn't know a repair had been done. What do you think? My next project was trying something I had thought about for quite a while, making a soil concrete foundation for the outdoor storage cabinet. I wanted to try it because soil concrete doesn't require as much material to make a solid foundation, and I had some concrete left over from making the grill. It's not as solid as whole concrete, but the cabinet is not heavy, and I wanted to put in a toe kick to get the cabinet up off the ground. So, the first order of business was digging out where I wanted the toe kit to sit. This area is loaded with tree roots, so soil concrete works well for me to blend it around any roots and not have to worry about trying to cut them out. Once that was done, I dumped out the leftover concrete. And broke up any chunks that had formed while it was sitting. Then smoothed it out with a rake. Next came using a small spade to mix it into the soil. And I once again used the rake to mix it further. Followed by using a piece of wood to level it all out. I was now ready to mist the area over. I didn't want to soak it, but would mist and then use the piece of wood to tamp it down and then mist again. I did the misting for the next 2 days and then let it sit a couple more days to finally cure. It turned into a nice hard shell that would allow me to set the toe kick on top and move the cabinet back into place. It took a little work to get it positioned, but I was finally satisfied with the setup. I now have the cabinet up off the ground with storage on one side and a place for a garbage can on the other. And I got a really nice tarp that fits over it to keep it dry until I need it for get-togethers. So that's it for home repairs for now. And now I can focus on growing things in the garden. See you next time.